Hello and welcome to episode 20 of the AnyGames.ie podcast with me, Gav.
And me, Dave.
And this week we're going to be discussing all things Leinster Senior League, as well as the League of Ireland opening weekend. We'll also be covering all the latest news stories from local pitches being under threat, as well as everything going on with Eni Aluko and Thomas Frank. And we'll also be going through all the latest news in the Premier League. But before we get into all of that, Dave, what's been going on the website this week?
Yeah, Gav, a couple of bits and pieces on the site this week that sort of came up and got resolved before we started recording. So as we shout them out, I'm just going to say they've been resolved. So we've had cases there in the Find a Player game where people have been looking for players for their games like that. Before we came on tonight to record, they've been sorted and people got in touch with them. We've also had stuff going on in the Find a Game section where there's someone looking for a game of 5-a-side, 6-a-side in the Dublin area. And again, before we got a chance to even record tonight, someone was on there and got them hooked up, or has let them know anyway that there's a game available for them. So good news stories there from the website. I suppose then that leads us into one of the bigger things that's come up on the site this week, and we shout it out across our socials, but it's another shout out on here on the podcast as well because it's ongoing. And that is a post from your club, Finglas United, who are looking for volunteers for their Football for All programme. And so they're looking for coaches or volunteers in general. There is a list of kind of details and things you have to have, such as Garda vetting, etc. there on the website. But if you are interested, and if there's someone nearby in the Finglas area or even near Finglas, and you'd be interested in getting involved there, head over to the site. The details to contact the people involved are over there on the anygames.ie website. Great project being run at the club, and it's actually something to keep an eye on. Ourselves here at Any Games, because we will be heading out there to speak to people involved with the Football for All in the coming weeks as well. So keep an eye on that.
Yeah, so it's a great team that's involved up there, and it's amazing work that they're doing up there. And obviously the interest in terms of participants has obviously grown over the last while. So it's good that they're actually having to actively seek more volunteers to get involved.
Yeah, brilliant.
Because it shows the growth as well. You know, with the number of participants involved there as well. So
it's a really great program. Actually, anybody listening here who's not entirely sure what the Football for All is, it's to make football more inclusive, basically for people with additional needs and stuff like that. So yeah, if you are someone, again, like I said, if you have experience of working with people with additional needs and you're interested, get over to the website, get in touch with Finglas United, and get involved. And on the subject of Finglas United, Gav, some good news for some of the players at the club this week, if you want to tell us a bit about that.
Yeah, so two of the senior lads, Aaron Costello and Keane Malone from John McLaren's side, getting a call up to Andy McNulty's LFA Select Squad. We were at the LFA LSL game a couple of weeks ago, and we did a full feature-length video on that as well on YouTube. So if you haven't seen that, go and check that out.
That's on AnyGames.ie on YouTube.
There you go. And congratulations to the two lads at Finglas United for the call up, and also three of the lads from the under-18s Premier team, Harry Wynne, Leon McLaren, and Clayton McKeever, getting a call up to the LFA U team as well. You might remember we covered the Finglas United and Bows game, and it was Leon McLaren with the assist from Clayton McKeever for the winning goal there for Finglas United that time. So congratulations all around, and great news for the club.
Yep, fair play, and shout out to all the lads there.
So moving on then to the League of Ireland, which started back up last weekend. And first of all, we'll kind of just go through the scores and the results.
Yep.
And then we'll dig into it a bit deeper. So we have Derry City and Sligo Rovers. That finished 2-1 to Derry. Derry off to a good start. That was at the Brandywell.
Yeah, James McLean's return. It was return to Derry.
Yeah. Great start for them. They're looking strong. A lot of people have them tipped to take it away from Rovers this year.
Right, okay.
They think they're going to be up there challenging anyway. Galway and Drogheda faced off then at the Eamon DC Park, and Drogheda came away 1-0 winners there, taking all 3 points. And then we had Waterford and Cheld down at the Waterford Regional Sports Centre, and that one finished in a 1-1 draw. Now the final game of the weekend was Bows versus Pats, which finished in a 0-0 draw. Dave, you were at that game.
I was. Had a good day out at the game, to be honest with you. I enjoyed it. The game itself wasn't great. Do you know what I mean? There was a great atmosphere Obviously, I was in the Bows end, and great atmosphere from the fans at the start of the game. It kind of died away as the game went on because the game itself wasn't full of quality. Do you know what I mean? Few moments. Bows probably should have won it. Actually, had a good chance. The one, I forget the player now, went 1-on-1 with the goalkeeper.
Yeah, it was
Could have went either side of him.
Yeah,
decided to hit it at him, but so like that, the atmosphere kind of died away throughout the game. But it was still good. Still good. I went with a friend of mine who, we took the opportunity to catch up and whatever. So it was a good day out. But I did see some kind of conversation online about having these games at the Aviva, and there's been kind of two sides of the argument. And people are saying it's great to have them, and they should have more of them at the Aviva. And then there's other people saying it's a waste of time, can't sell the stadium out, kills the atmosphere, things like that. Now, I didn't. I thought the atmosphere was pretty good, and I think the only reason the atmosphere died away in the game was because of the game itself.
Yeah.
I'd like to get your take on it, though.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I can see both sides of that argument. From my perspective, I've been to the Aviva League of Ireland games, and in particular the League of Ireland Cup finals. I've been a couple of years in a row, and it is very much like you say, where it doesn't sell out, right? And it's very difficult to sell out. And what I would say is the quality of the game, just like you spoke about there, has a lot to do with it in terms of maintaining that atmosphere. Because atmosphere is what you go for.
Yeah.
And I've been at games where I think it was Bows and Pats one year, and it was a good quality end-to-end game. Now, Pats ran away fairly comfortable with it from what I can remember. But it was there was plenty of chances, plenty of reasons for the crowd to be up and down throughout the game. And I think that's important. I've gone to other cup finals. I actually brought the football team one year because we spoke about actually with Gav Pearce the way they do this incentive now to bring schoolboys along to games, and we brought the lads one year, the year before last I think it was. I think they Drogheda win that year I think, and it wasn't a particularly good game. And 10-15 minutes into the second half, the place was quiet. There wasn't a huge amount to get excited for, not a huge amount of opportunities, and the quality of the game can kill the atmosphere, particularly when the stadium isn't sold out. On the other side of that argument, if it is a great game, and like you said, particularly walking up to the stadium, you've got the flares going off, the flags, the banners, everybody's up for it.
All that, yeah.
So the build up to the game is often quite good regardless. It's when the game begins that if it doesn't match up to that, what's going on in the stands, if it doesn't live up to the quality, it can just go flat for the rest of it then. And then these questions get asked, and because it ended in a 0-0 draw, very few chances, it's going to have that lull in the stadium.
Yeah,
and it's even more noticeable when it's half full.
That was my takeaway from being at the game. It was nothing to do with the numbers in the stadium because the atmosphere was still quite good at the beginning. You know what I mean? And everybody was up for it, and they could hear the Pats fans up the other end of the stadium as well. Technically, Pats were the away team on the day, so there was less allocation for them, but there was still a good turnout for Pats. It was the game itself made the atmosphere drop off, and that was my take. I for one think, like, you don't want it every week, but you would like to see. I'd like to see more games in the Aviva. For bigger games, especially where ticket allocations and stuff like that, and you might have smaller stadiums, and I don't know. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, I think I wouldn't be in a rush to dismiss it.
No,
would be my argument, and I think it's a great opportunity for the players that are involved as well, the clubs and the teams that are involved to play a game in the Aviva, because not all of them will get that opportunity too often.
No,
so I think it's important for the players and for the clubs involved as well. And I think it's good for the league.
I think so as well. I suppose I was actually just thinking there as well. Was that's the second season now Bows have kicked off the season in the Aviva? Yeah, was it Bows and Rovers last year?
It was, yeah, that's right. Yeah,
but I suppose where my thinking is on that, then say you have, I don't know, Galway,
yeah,
and Sligo,
yeah.
Are you going to get people travelling up to Dublin for that game?
This is probably the thinking, as well, that are the tickets going to sell first and foremost? You know, are people willing to travel for? Are the teams and the clubs willing to travel, let alone the supporters? You know,
Yeah, well, this is the thing as well.
obviously they're going to be coming up to Dublin anyway, and they're going to want that opportunity. Of course, they are. But
Well, you would think the players would like the opportunity to play in the Aviva in front of a bunch of their fans, but it's whether their fans will travel from the west of Ireland for the
yeah,
game.
yeah,
You know, diehards will, 100%.
yeah.
But would it draw? Would it draw?
I wonder what I'm not sure what the selection process is in terms of what teams get selected for that.
I mean, it's easy to pick the Dublin teams.
It's very easy, but why has Bowes got two on the bounce? Let's say
Yeah.
why didn't Shells get to play? You know,
Yeah.
why didn't why wasn't it Pats and Rovers this year?
Yeah.
You know, like I'm not too sure what the
What
the
the idea,
criteria
what you
is or
think
the
it is
selection
behind it.
process is. Obviously, you know, they are two big clubs, but Rovers are the league champions as well. Why weren't they there? Do
But
you know?
yeah, you would have thought they'd kick the season off there, wouldn't you?
Yeah, and poor Rovers didn't even get to play
Yeah, as it turns out.
with
Yeah,
the waterlogged pitch.
yeah. We go back to we go back to our conversations about summer football.
Yeah. But I have to say, even our lads got to play last weekend, which was great.
Yeah, but Rovers didn't.
But poor Rovers didn't.
I couldn't believe that. I actually like the Tallaght Stadium. I've been out there. It's a nice stadium.
Yeah, it
You
is.
know.
And we'll probably talk about it again at some stage. But it'll be interesting to see now what the new daily mount would look like.
Yeah, the plans look great for it.
Yeah,
you know,
although
and that was only in the news again this week, I think.
yeah, and that's kind of why it popped into my mind. But I know there's an issue surrounding European games. Even after the redevelopment, they still won't be able to host. They'll still have to play the
Oh,
European
really?
games in Tallaght
Really,
because whatever classification that they're going to meet,
it doesn't.
it doesn't meet the criteria for hosting a European game,
That seems so bizarre.
doesn't it?
Yeah, that you're going to put all this work in.
And still not have it up to
Yeah.
code.
That's crazy.
It's a strange one. I think we touched on it before, but as the development starts, we'll go through that with a bit more detail.
Yeah. We'll look at that one closely as it progresses.
Yeah. So we'll move on then to what's in the news then this week.
Yeah.
And there's a couple of interesting news stories. So I'll let you kick it off, Dave. There was one surrounding the local pitch down in Portland Row that is under threat.
Yeah, so Gav, this was a story that I actually hadn't heard about until someone pointed it out to me the other day. A friend of mine, actually, we were on our way to the Bulls match, and he mentioned this to me. We were driving down that way, and he tells me about this pitch that's under threat in the area in Portland Row. It's a tarmac pitch, you know, like your typical kind of concrete kind of pitch. But
Yeah, the old cages.
it's been slated to have social housing built on it, and it's a bit of a tricky one because while people in the area are not necessarily opposed to the social housing, they are opposed to this pitch being basically
Having to make way for them.
it. It's seen as kind of like, you know, a staple in the area, especially for kids to get out and play football or
It's a recreational area.
exactly, yeah. It's gotten some attention from some high profile names. Kelly Harrington's put her name to the support in the area, and Hollywood director Jim Sheridan,
Yeah.
both in support of it. Like that again, it comes kind of with a kind of 50-50 approach here. There's like people support the housing itself, but definitely want to keep the
Well, why
pitch.
does it have to go there? Why does something have to give way for that to
Exactly, yeah.
take its place?
So like you have Kelly Harrington saying like she grew up in the area, and
It's on her doorstep.
yeah. Like as she says, it provides a safe space for at-risk children. You have local politicians as well putting a name to it. People like Mary Lou McDonald and stuff like that, you know, who's from the area herself, in support of keeping the pitch. You know, it's an interesting one. My take on it is, I suppose, it shows kind of a disconnect from the people who make these plans to the people who are in the area and the people who make use of these things in the area. Do you know what I mean? Again, it's a disconnect. It's like, right, we're going to slate that area. There's a space we can put housing into, and it seems a bit tone deaf to me.
It's a strange one because you would think that this day and age, like we've seen it in a lot of developments. So like you look at IKEA, for example,
Yeah.
in Ballymun, right next to it, Ballymun United have new facilities. All the roads around that way are freshly laid. You know, the infrastructure is put in place to both service IKEA but also the surrounding areas.
Mm.
And you could say the same up in Charlestown. You've got McKelvey Celtic right beside it, that building mountains of apartments up there. next to the shopping centre.
McKelvey's after getting swallowed up.
It is, but the facility is still there, and it's better than ever.
That's true.
They've had their pitch relayed, got all new facilities, so both can coexist together.
Why do they have to flatten this?
Why does one have to take the place of the other?
Yeah,
it doesn't. This day and age, what should happen there is you should have, let's say you've got the construction company coming in with the plans. This is what they want to build. Okay, well, let's say they had to get rid of that particular area. They should, at the very least, have something similar developed, brand new, fresh, around the corner.
Yeah.
If they need that particular site for whatever development they're looking to put in place, they should be able to say, right, well, look, we're going to take up this space, but just around the corner, we're going to give you this brand new football pitch.
Better facility.
Yeah. And, there has to be a trade-off there. You can't just go in and go, look, we're going to take that pitch off you because it suits our needs and we don't have any concern about yours.
Yeah, and now your kids have nothing.
Exactly. And particularly in those inner city areas where they're already underserviced, where they're, as you said, they're being swallowed up by these constant redevelopments and big construction companies coming in and massive developments constantly. Like you've got the likes of the IFSC swallowing up Sherrill Street.
Yeah.
And every little bit of green area is so valuable to them that it's just being taken away from them, And it's like, if we look back over the years, like only a couple of months ago, we're celebrating how great Troy Parrott is. He's from around the corner.
Well, apparently he used to play on that pitch.
Exactly. That's what I'm talking about. Do you know what I mean? These are places, they might not mean something to these construction companies or these development companies, but they are at the start of some kid's dream.
Yeah, exactly. But you see, the problem with that is, Gav, you say, someone in the development company making these decisions, there's a plot of land, we're going to take that. The person probably lives somewhere, God knows where, miles away, not from the area. They don't care.
Probably not even in the country, Dave.
No. And
it's just a money-making racket, that's all. And
it goes back to government, Gav, as well.
I 100% agree with you there. You took the words out of my mouth. I think it comes down to the government. Like, there's one thing, Mary Lou McDonald going, oh yeah, I'm against this. But like, make sure it doesn't happen then.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know she's not, head of cabinet or anything, but she should be able to
shout loud enough.
And get the people who are to stop that from happening in the first place, and just say, look, there's plenty of other development opportunities outside of the city, and you can't be literally just turning this place into a concrete jungle and taking everything from us.
Well, I'll be honest though, it's not going to be the likes of a Mary Lou McDonald or any politician that's going to actually make a difference there. It's actually going to be, as always, up to the people in the area to shout loud enough, because politicians are politicians, right? And they just like to say things to make themselves look good. Oh yeah, support this pitch. Do you know what I mean? But ultimately, we all know
you can't go in and take services like that away or facilities like that away and not either redevelop that particular area and build next to it, or offer an alternative close by.
You can't.
And give them some brand new facilities. There has to be some sort of trade-off. You can't just take something and not give anything back.
You're putting the boot into people who already have very little in their area, and anyway, and that's only going to go on so long, and then there's inevitably going to be social problems come from taking amenities away from the area. It's just going to happen. You see it everywhere that happens. You see a rise in antisocial behaviour because yourself, from where we've grown up, But I suppose I'll throw it to the listeners then. Have you seen this story about this pitch in the North Inner City and the fact that they're going to build over it? And if so, what's your take on it? Do you think the social housing is more important, or, as Gav says there, the social housing can and should exist with?
They should coexist. We're not playing down the importance of social housing by any means.
So, like that, we'll throw it to the listeners. Drop into the comments and let us know what you think. So, Gav, another piece of in the news this week then, and I'll throw this one to you. We have the situation with Eni Aluko in the news. I know it's not Irish football, but we'll throw it out there because it's a big piece of football news in the week. What's your take on this?
Before I give my opinion on it, give my 2 cents, I have to say it's very entertaining.
Oh, it's great entertainment.
I've been clued into Talk Sport today and yesterday, listening to Moni Simon Jordan.
Yeah, I do like. He's great entertainment as well, though. As much as he gets under my skin a little bit.
Yeah, like, I mean, he can nearly in the same sentence, he can make you laugh and annoy you at the same time.
Yeah.
It was an interesting debate. Kind of all started, for anybody who hasn't been listening to this story or tuned in and following it. It all kind of started because Eni had come out and basically thrown Ian Wright under the bus because she was no longer kept on at ITV, and she felt like Ian Wright didn't do enough to support her, and she felt like she was kind of shunned.
Yeah.
And she had reached out and she went through all the proper channels, and she thought Ian Wright was her friend, and she feels that a lot of the dislike towards her at times is based on her colour and her gender, as opposed to her actual ability as a pundit.
Yeah.
Which was Simon Jordan's point, and he went in on it hard, and he said, look, it's not all racism and it's not all sexism and all of that sort of stuff. Maybe I'm just not good at punditry.
Yeah.
Do you know that kind of way? And I went back and forth, and Laura Woods got involved on social media.
I saw Laura Woods' post on it, actually. Very good post on it. She goes into the fact that England caps don't necessarily make you a good pundit and so on and so forth.
Yeah, and Simon Jordan was making the same point, and it is a valid point.
Yeah.
It's the same way that being a good footballer doesn't make you a good football manager.
I had to laugh at his quote of, what was it, the weight of self-entitlement that you have is enough to re-sink the Titanic or something like that.
He comes out with these crackers.
Brilliant.
Absolute crackers.
What I will say on this is I don't necessarily believe that it's about her race or gender, but some of the discourse online is definitely that. But
yeah, 100%.
That's the toxic element of the internet.
It is.
And it's disgraceful that goes on.
I think the thought and of the general population is that she's not enjoyable as a pundit.
No.
She's not entertaining as a pundit. And whatever points she tries to make while on air don't land well.
No.
For the audience. So I think when it came to it, ITV weren't going, oh, you're a black woman, we don't want you anymore, because based on those facts.
TV companies are about ratings. That's all they're about.
That's all it is.
And if someone's not pulling the ratings, or someone's not getting the positive feedback online, or if someone's saying this person's opinions are crap and they're tuning out of the station, that's the business that TV studios are in. That's their business. They care about ratings. They don't care about anything else.
100%. And now I'll give her credit where credit's due. She came on, sat right next to Simon Jordan, and had it out and got her points across.
Yeah.
And some of the points that she made, Simon Jordan agreed with. And I agreed with myself. But I haven't seen a huge amount of her over the years on TV. You know, she is a familiar face. I wouldn't have ever had an opinion on her one way or the other myself.
No, she's thrown herself into the limelight there. In fact, to be honest with you, the only reason I do know who she is because of the first time she came out and said that Ian Wright has taken jobs away from women in women's football.
Yeah.
You know.
No, but
I suppose Laura Wood's recent point about that was that women's football needs people like Ian Wright, who is passionate about the women's game, and he is there speaking about it every week. And
so Laura Woods is basically saying, regardless of gender, you can't just say women's football needs to be driven solely by women, and you should only have women presenters and women pundits and all this sort of stuff. Because she's saying, as you said, you want the biggest names in football, regardless, not women, not just women's.
Yeah,
you want to get the audience in. You want young boys as well as girls watching that. Now, and the likes of Ian Wright will help bring that audience in and get eyes on the game.
In an ideal world, right, women's football will have vast majority female pundits and presenters and ex-players and stuff like that who will be the driving force behind the game. But in our lifetime, I don't think that's going to happen. But it is going to take people like your Ian Wrights getting involved and pushing the game that will push it to that point. See, I think Eni Aluko's trying to get the game to run before it's walking, basically. You know,
She's also trying to do it in a way that serves herself. So
yeah,
she solely wants to be the face of women's football.
yeah. I could think of
A lot of it is in a selfish manner. It's very much, I want women's football to do really well, but I want to be a part of it, and I want to be a pundit, and I want to be on the biggest games, and I want to be on the finals.
I can already think of
Where
at least one person I'd rather see speak about the game over her, and that's Alex Scott.
Yeah.
Jill of the overlap.
Yeah.
And then Laura Woods, who was never even a player, but actually is a great football reporter. I like Laura Woods.
Yeah, there's a few, like, as I said, I don't, on any directly, I don't have, I've never really had an opinion on her one way or the other, but it does come across that she's just kind of bitter that ITV let her go, and her friend Ian Roy didn't fight hard enough for her as far as she's concerned to bring her back.
Yeah.
And
Simon Jordan did say Ian Wright's in the Ian Wright business.
And he's right as well.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Like, and what's the other presenter that used to do Sky Sports News? Oh my God, I'm having a brain fart.
Jim White.
So even Jim White was saying the same thing. He was kind of going, if TalkSport got rid of me tomorrow, I'm not expecting Simon Jordan to help me out.
No.
Do you know the way? It's every man for himself in this game.
What I will say is, I think TalkSport, I'll call them clever, but that's not necessarily the word I would usually put to TalkSport, because I actually think I actually hate TalkSport.
Yeah, for the most part, it's very clickbaitish.
Yeah, and that's exactly it. When you see, what's his name, Jason Cundy and that
Darren Bent
not Darren Bent, you're a clown. The fuck, I actually don't mind Darren Bent. I like him. What's that fucking EJ?
Joey Barton?
No, the Spurs EJ. Dad, what's his name? O'Hara. Jamie O'Hara.
Oh, Jamie O'Hara, yeah.
A lot of what they do on their segment on that is definitely for clips and for clicks. And they get the people
bites. That's all it is.
Yeah. And I think, to be honest, I think she probably should never have gone on it for herself.
No, it's like she just grabbed a bigger shovel.
Yeah, I think she probably made matters worse for herself going on there.
I don't know now if she'll look back and reflect on that and think, right, I'm done now. I'm going to go back into...
She did say she's done with appearing on UK television.
Yeah.
So
she's done with the UK altogether.
I think maybe the UK is done with her though. So.
Certainly sounds like it. Now look, again...
Look, best of luck to her.
General opinion is she's not a good pundit.
No.
And when that's the general opinion, it's very hard to get a job as a pundit.
Yeah.
Simple as.
She might do well in the US somewhere, maybe.
Yeah. But again, there's still no need for, shooting her down for her appearance or gender or race or anything
like that. I mean, that's just taking it to another level, and that's unacceptable.
Yeah. So moving on to our next story in the news this week, and it's a bit of a sad news story for you, Dave.
Yeah, it's always sad to see a fellow Arsenal fan lose his job, but that's exactly what happened this week when Thomas Frank lost his job at Spurs.
Oh, we set that up, didn't we?
We did. Thomas Frank gone, doing absolutely stellar work at Tottenham, and I'm sad to see him go.
Yeah, sad to see that stellar work come to an end.
Yeah.
Abruptly come to an end after a poor performance yesterday evening.
Yeah, Newcastle, wasn't it?
Newcastle.
Yeah.
2-1 was it that game finished?
2-1,
We'll go through the results anyway now shortly, but
in a few minutes.
Probably got longer than I expected, if I was totally honest.
Yeah. I think he should have been gone maybe 3 or 4 games ago.
I think so. I would have said, yeah.
Like they are now, you would have to say, in a relegation fight.
100%.
What's it? 5 points now. 5 points off the bottom 3.
Yeah, and
that was very close last night to being 3 points off the bottom 3, but for like United equaliser.
Yeah, we'll get into that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually thought he was going to go probably around Christmas time. I think I mentioned it on the podcast before. And it's a strange one because kind of looking at it from the outside, it looked as though Thomas Frank could be a good fit there.
Yeah.
He had done brilliant things, getting all the plaudits. Was also talked about the United job, and Amarin was looking like he was under threat initially, and I probably would have taken him. but I think his CV is probably a bit scarred now after that episode of Tottenham.
Yeah, but you know what? You look at anybody who goes in there, like De Zerbi now is the favourite to go in there, and I'm looking at that and thinking, geez, I don't want De Zerbi to go in there. He could do a good job there. But I've said that about probably every manager that's gone in there for the last 2 or 3 managers, and it's just not good. Not good at Tottenham.
Do you think that it might be something similar to maybe what Man United are saying, where you go through some of the managers we've had over the years, and on paper you're going, we're getting Van Gaal in, we're getting Mourinho in. This is going to be the answer.
Yeah, I think it is a bit of that.
Every time it comes back to, no, there's something fundamentally wrong with the club. And you look at Tottenham, you'd say great facilities, brand new stadium. In terms of their financial stability and hosting NFL games and concerts and everything else at that stadium, like they market themselves very well.
For all on paper, they should be.
But it's never
reflected. They should be right up there. I mean, even look at their squad. Their squad is actually a decent squad.
Do you think he's been unlucky with the number of injuries? Like, I think there's 12 players out injured, and I mean some big names in there: Kulusevski, Madison.
I think they lost someone else last night as well. The doggy? No.
Was it Dougie?
I think he went out last night. I'm not sure. I could be wrong.
And then you had Romero getting sent off against United as well. You know, your captain
misses the North London derby.
Yeah, I mean, it's when things are going wrong, it generates a bit of momentum in the wrong direction, doesn't it?
But they've been like that forever. And I know, you can point to the injuries and the players missing now at the moment and say it's that. But what was it last year? What was it the year before?
Do you think it's always been there, and maybe just having the likes of a Harry Kane and a Heung-min Son?
They had Gareth Bales. They've always had a big individual.
Yeah, kind of carrying them almost.
I don't think they have that now. What have they got now? Richarlison.
Yeah, he's not going to do you much. Solanke.
No. I don't know, but I hope it continues. And how I will laugh if they do get pulled into that relegation zone and go down.
So would you think De Zerbi would be the man for the job? Like, if you, I don't want to say put yourself in the Tottenham fan shoes, I'm not going to ask you to do that. But do you think De Zerbi is deservingly at the top of the list for Tottenham?
For him, he is. For to get himself a Premier League job, and he's done a good job at Marseille. So
you think it's the right move for him?
It's the right move for him, I think.
Going from Marseille.
I just hope it doesn't work out for him. that's my honest opinion. But no, I think it's a good move, and it should, again, like everything else with Tottenham, on paper, be a good move.
We'll get to the United and West Ham result yesterday evening, but someone pointed out, obviously Tottenham, as you said, are very close to the relegation battle now at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
And hot on their heels is Nottingham Forest and West Ham.
Yeah.
How bittersweet would it be if Nuno, now at West Ham, haven't been at Nottingham Forest, and at Tottenham, manages to finish above both of them, haven't been, considering the starting position he took up when he went into West Ham first.
Yeah.
To then overtake them and potentially drag one of them into that relegation battle.
Well, look, I've been calling West Ham going down since the very first episode of this podcast we've done. But I'd be more than happy to be wrong to see that scenario play out and have him finish above them too. And with Tottenham getting relegated, I mean, that would just be hilarious to me. Plus, I do like Nuno. I've always liked Nuno as a coach, so I would rather see him stay up above the other two.
Yeah, I think I'm probably there with you as well. But it'd be interesting to see now over the next day or two, because I'd imagine Tottenham have been looking at this international break coming up and gone, right, this is obviously the perfect time. He was probably going regardless of last night's
probably right.
result. I'd say they were just using this as the time to have another manager lined up, whether it's De Zerbi or whoever it might be, to come in and go, right, you've got 9-10 days now to put your stamp on this team,
work with the team,
and start turning things around.
Yeah.
So
it could happen, and to be honest with you, realistically, I'm here talking about Tottenham getting dragged into relegation battles. I genuinely don't think they'll go down. I think they have enough about them in the 12 games left now after this round of games.
Yeah.
So I think they have enough about them to stay up.
Time will tell. Also, which is quite interesting, is just a clip doing the rounds there at the moment of the recording of the overlap today.
Yeah, I've yet to watch that.
Gary Neville sitting there, and the news comes through of Thomas Franks sacking, and
their guest this week.
Welcome in, Ange Postecoglou.
Yeah.
The irony of it all.
I said it to you before we started recording. Actually, I don't think there's going to be any love lost there between Ange and Tottenham.
No.
I think by the time he was done there, I think he genuinely hated that club.
He was a shell of a man, wasn't he? He'd no spark left in him.
He's sitting there in the dugout looking at his fans do the Poznan because they're losing 2-0. What was it, or something to City?
Yeah.
Fans celebrating.
Yeah.
A loss in the stadium, and you could tell by the press conference after that game he was done.
He was done. Yeah.
He was done.
Yeah.
That's just it's the history of the Tottenham.
Right, so we'll move on then to the last round of results. Will we look at that, or will we look at?
I suppose because we're kind of midweek and there's like the last round of results, and we're in the middle of the current round of results.
We'll kind of cover everything up until
now.
Do
a little bit of talk, and
we'll look ahead at tomorrow's fixtures as well, because
there's only one fixture tomorrow. It's
Arsenal and Brentford, and that's at G Technic.
Yeah, it's an away game, and as we speak here, City have beaten Fulham 3-0 tonight. So
Villa with a late goal as well against Brighton.
So big game tomorrow for Arsenal. I mean, if they don't win it, City are backward in 3 points. Like, people talk about this whole Arsenal, if they don't win it, they've bottled it. But City have been there nipping at them this whole time. It's not exactly like a runaway job for Arsenal to bottle. It's been close. There's just been times where City drop points, we drop points. It's never been an outright. Like, we've never been 12 points clear, and now we're back to 3. You know what I mean?
You were 9 points clear though one stage, right?
I think it was 8.
Was it 8?
I don't think it was ever 9.
Was it not?
No. 9 would have made me feel comfortable. I've never been comfortable with this lead that we've had. You know, I'd be jumping ahead a little bit, but sure, we're here talking about Arsenal now. We may as well cover it and get it done. We had a good result last weekend. Was it 4-0? 4-0 at Sunderland? At home to Sunderland.
You're the Arsenal fan.
I know. Yeah, it was definitely 3-0. It was 3-0. I was thinking of the 4-0 against Leeds, the previous game.
Yeah.
But I suppose we'll move on from Arsenal. There's not much else to say there other than the fact that it's...
We'll move on, but we'll also move back. So we'll take a look back at match week 25, last weekend's fixtures. And that kicked off with Leeds against Forest on the Friday. And Leeds came away there 3-1.
3-1. Solid at home again. They're fairly good at home, aren't they?
Ellen Road's a tough place to go.
Yeah.
And that's where they're going to pick up a lot of their...
A
lot of their points, I think.
I think they'll stay up, and I think that's why, is that they'll pick up more points at home.
Yeah, and I mean, they obviously picked up a great draw against Chelsea yesterday as well, which we'll get into shortly, but Leeds definitely doing enough not to kind of be worried about what's going on below them either.
Yeah.
So just doing enough. Forest, on the other hand, you know, they're down there and they need every point they can get at the moment.
Yeah, they're right in the scrap, aren't they?
Yeah. We'll move on then to this Saturday. So the early kickoff there was United against Spurs.
I watched that game.
And look, a lot has been made about the red card, and
it was a straight red. There's no
but what I mean is, it was made out that maybe Tottenham had looked better than they were before that red card came. That makes sense. And Thomas Frank was just unlucky because they were in the game up until that point and whatever. He got sent off after half an hour.
Yeah.
They hadn't got too many notable chances before he was sent off.
No. I was watching a United with a better team.
In my opinion, they were. So I think, not to say that the result would have been the same. We don't know that for sure. But I thought up until that point, United were stronger anyway. So I think United would have went on to win that game. And Bilmo Fernandes, 2 good goals, especially the first goal was really nice because it was a well-worked set piece.
Yeah.
And we've seen something similar again yesterday evening against West Ham, a different variation of a set piece. It looks like something that they're really working on. And, United second only to Arsenal in terms of goals from set pieces
Yeah, I
this
saw
season.
that
So
actually. It's pretty good.
there's something
Mbumo's
there.
looking a bit more like the player he was at Brentford now, isn't he?
Well, he's, in fairness to him, he hasn't really put a foot wrong since he's come to United. I
Not
mean,
really, but
he kind of came out of the traps and he's been consistent.
yeah.
I think what I've said it before, even in the games where he's not doing anything special, he'll still always put in the hard yards for you. He'll still track back. He still works hard, and I think Cunha is very similar in that respect.
Yeah.
And
Just Cunha's a bit more chaotic as a player.
he is on the ball, but I think he's actually very disciplined off the ball, and he will come track back, and he'll put them yards in. And what I find is, I think kind of that work rate and the distance that they cover and the fitness levels that both of them have is probably the reason that they're getting in ahead of Sesko.
Yeah.
But obviously Sesko got the winner last night. Again, something that we'll touch on in a moment. But that had United at 4 in a row. And Bournemouth and Aston Villa played out a 1-1 draw.
1-1 draw, yeah.
That was a good moment for United.
It was a good moment, yeah. Bournemouth are like that at home, aren't they? Though they're just a tough team to go to.
Yeah, I have to say, one thing we might do soon is maybe go through the teams. I think we spoke about it the other week, that we go through the teams and maybe highlight sort of your favourite player from each team this season, or who you think their best player of the season so far it is.
Maybe we'll do that on our next
solo episode.
Solo episode.
Duo episode
where we're not doing interviews, because we have another interview lined up next week actually, but that won't drop till the following week. We'll get to that. Yeah. You did skip Arsenal and Sunderland, by the way.
No, I went Bournemouth, Aston Villa.
Oh, sorry.
And then Arsenal and Sunderland.
We're looking at different websites, are we?
Yeah, I'm on the official Premier League page, not Sky Sports.
Sorry, yeah, my bad.
Yeah, Arsenal 3-0, Dave. Do you remember that it was 3-0?
I do remember. I remember now that it was 3-0. I should, because obviously I watched the game. Nothing exciting in this game. It was just a solid kind of professional home win. Did everything right. Never really looked in trouble. Positives for the game: Victor Gyökeres with 2 goals. A player who looks like he's actually finding a bit of form now, which I'm happy with. He took his goals well, actually. So he took the first goal well. The second goal was all Martinelli, to be honest with you.
Do you think, having Havertz back, he's feeling less pressure? Obviously, he's coming off the bench as well a lot of the time. He's feeling less pressure to be the main man to get the goals.
I think so, but I also think Kai Havertz he's playing in that number 10 role. And I remember saying to you a few weeks ago, I can't wait for Kai Havertz to come back.
Or even, not even just Havertz, Jesus as well coming back.
Jesus coming back as well. Jesus comes back and he's offering kind of an option as opposed to offering something really potent up front. He's offering just something a little bit different up front, and we can change the game up then. So the last couple of weeks he seems to be starting Gabriel Jesus and bringing Gyökeres on, who is then making an impact actually after he comes on.
Yeah.
So you'll see. I think that's the way he'll go tomorrow against Brentford.
Do you just think he's playing that bit freer because he doesn't feel the burden?
I think so, but I think Havertz opens up this team more.
Yeah.
I think Havertz is a very intelligent player that he doesn't get credit for, to be quite honest. I think
he didn't get credit for a long time off Arsenal fans.
No, he didn't. I liked him. I think the big problem with him coming in initially was he came in from Chelsea, and we'd signed a lot of players from Chelsea. It was the same this season with Madueke coming in. A lot of Arsenal fans are saying, not another Chelsea player.
Yeah.
Do you know why we keep buying players off Chelsea? To be fair, the last 2 we bought have turned out to be good players in Noni Madueke and Kai Havertz. Before that, you were looking at your David Luiz's, you were looking at your fucking William Gallas, and who was the other clown we bought? I can't remember now. But yeah, no, like I said, good solid win, and I can't really say too much. Oh, Zubamendi's goal was a cracker. Absolute screamer of a goal. The technique on it, I would have said contender for goal of the season until Szoboszlai scored his goal the next day.
He scored a similar one a few weeks ago as well, didn't he?
He did, but this one was unbelievable. The outside of his foot.
Yeah.
Off the post. But anyway, yeah, good solid win.
We'll move on then to Burnley West Ham. West Ham comfortable enough in the end, 2-0.
Yeah. Burnley are going to go down.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I think so. Although, did they get a win tonight? Well, I just want to skip forward there and have a look.
Well, you were having a look there, Dave.
They did. They beat Palace 3-2 tonight. Anyway,
that is a good result. Really good result. I can't imagine they feel like they're they're getting out of that though.
No, I don't think so. I don't think they'll be consistent enough.
Like if you look at kind of their fixtures coming up over the next few weeks, I mean they've got Chelsea next at Stamford Bridge. Then they've got Brentford after that. I mean, even just those next 2 games where you would be hoping to kind of keep the momentum going.
You can't see it, can you?
Um,
West Ham going better though, aren't they?
yeah. I mean, if we look at the game last night against United, I know a lot was made by the pundits about how well West Ham played. They kind of had one decent opportunity before they scored the goal. The first half, Somerville had an opportunity, and then obviously Thomas Soucek got the goal. As soon as they got the goal, they parked the bus. Now, look, you can dismiss a team and just say they parked the bus.
Yeah.
There's a lot that goes into being that defensively sound and limiting the spaces between the lines and everything else. You know, there is an art to it, and it's not easy either.
No.
But they weren't too far away from taking all 3 points there. But I would have said United were very flat. You know, it was disappointing from United's perspective, and I'm raging that fella didn't get his haircut because I'm sick of hearing about it.
I know.
Look, I know all the money's going to charity, and that's great and everything else, but like it's dragged on now too long.
It's gone. I think he needs to change the objective.
Like when the players start getting asked about it, no, like that for me. Do you know, like is it every time now? Are we gonna win another 4 in a row? Then the 5th game, then we're gonna start talking about this fella's hair again.
I saw someone talk about that fella today, and said that it was either stupidity or he knows exactly what he's doing. In that, when you look back at last season and look at any teams who won actually 5 games in a row, only one team done it last year.
Yeah,
Liverpool, who won the league.
Yeah.
So, it's actually not an easy thing to win 5 games in a row. I don't know. I don't want to spend too much time talking about it anyway.
Yeah, well, Liam Rosenior came in and did it at Chelsea.
He did, to be fair.
Arsenal did it a couple of months ago, I think. At one stage this season, he's got it.
Yeah, we're potentially going to win the league. You know, it's a
bit different. Thing. So what are you trying to say? You can't win the league?
Maybe next year, not this season. What do we have next?
You tell me, Dave. You're the one on the Sky Sports app.
I'm on the Sky Sports app, right? Well, what I see next is Fulham losing 2-1 to Everton at home. Which, I mean, yeah.
Not much else to say in that.
There's not much to say about Fulham and Everton. They are where they are. They're going to finish where they're going to finish. They're not going to
set the world on fire.
No. If they do anything, they'll just take points off someone who's actually playing for something. I suppose Everton, can get some sort of European football, can they?
They can, yeah. They're not far off now at this point.
But I mean, do they want it? Do you want that? I suppose for a team like Everton, you do.
Yeah, there's a lot of teams that are fairly close in the middle there, and they'll be looking, right, how many games have we got? Who have we got to play? Can, as you said, the likes of Sunderland and Newcastle, Bournemouth, they're going to be looking at those last couple of European positions and go, look, we've an opportunity here. We're not far off the mark.
Just a quick one there on Everton. Did I read correctly during the week that Grealish is out for the rest of the season?
Yeah, he had surgery on a fractured foot, so he's out now for the rest of the season. And
the World Cup, probably.
I don't know. I think he might still make it for the World Cup. Did it rule him out for the World Cup?
I'm not sure.
Although that'd be a big blow.
If it's a season over, it's probably the World Cup as well.
Yeah, well, maybe he's getting the surgery now. Some of these things you can off-put surgeries, and finish out the season, whatever. It may be a case where he's prioritising.
Maybe he knows he'll be back for the World Cup, and then
it might be in with an outside chance.
Yeah.
Do you think actually a fully fit Jack Grealish makes that World Cup team for England?
It's a good question. I don't know.
Like, we're still sitting here, I suppose, and hoping that Ireland are on that flight.
Yeah.
And heading over as well. But because we know the Premier League so well, we're often interested to see England's squad selections.
Yeah. Pay attention to it.
Who's the key players, do you think, heading over?
For England?
For England.
Declan Rice, Jude Bellingham. Up front, I'm not entirely sure.
It'd have to be Harry Kane, wouldn't it?
Yeah, but
Like
I suppose he's in
England,
great form.
England
actually. He's
aren't blessed
gone.
with a lot of top quality centre forwards and strikers.
No.
Loads of
Um,
number 10s.
Cole Palmer's definitely going, isn't he? Bukayo Saka's definitely going.
Cole Palmer looks like he's hitting a bit of form at the right time. If he can stay fit now for the rest of the season, continue that form.
Yeah, Saka's name will bring him, if not necessarily his form.
Yeah, I mean, it's if Arsenal do go on a bit of a run now and Madueke's flying, it'd be very hard to take him out of the team.
I think so.
I know,
Yeah.
like I know Saka offers something different, but if you're playing the numbers game, Madueke might end up getting you more assists,
He probably
even
will.
in just the short stint where Saka's out. He
Yeah.
might end up having more goals and assists than Saka has so far this season.
He might well do. It's an unusual one with Saka because although the numbers don't tell the story necessarily, at times, and I know like he's there to get assists and goals, but he is linking up play very well when he's on the pitch.
Yeah.
I think Madueke is more of a swashbuckler, if you know what I mean. But like he's head down, runs at his man, and tries to beat him, and he'll try that 10 times, and it might come off 7 out of 10 times.
That's what you want to see as a football fan, don't you?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
Like I get your point. Are you more on the side that Saka is a bit more measured?
I think so. Yeah. At times,
Do you
that can
think
be
that's
frustrating.
that's coached?
Oh yeah, I think so.
Because he wasn't always like that.
The problem we have, and I suppose this is why Madueke, I think, is looking better in terms of what you're watching on the pitch there. I know we're dropping back on Arsenal here, but we're actually kind of talking about the England selection. But when we are playing against these teams who are setting up deep, trying to defend and trying to sit low against us, you need someone who's going to run at his man and take him on. Whereas Saka is more trying to pass in between the lines, get in between the lines there. And, you're trying to pass to 2-3 players. He's closed down. He's double teamed.
Yeah.
It becomes harder for him, so he turns back, recycles play a lot.
It's very safe and measured, I find, with Saka. And I do think a lot, like you said, a lot of it's coached. Because I see with Amad Diallo, who's a similar player, left footed, plays on the right hand side of the front three, let's say.
Yeah.
And he's more likely to take on that last defender and run it to the byline and try to get across. Like if he's doing it against West Ham, he does it best, and he gets rewarded for it. It doesn't always come off. More often than not, it doesn't. He's lucky to get a corner out of it half the time.
You talk about the numbers game. The more you do it, the law of averages, you're going to beat your man at some point.
But it's not even getting a goal or an assist at the end of it. It's pushing the opposition back into their own box.
Yeah. And you win a corner.
And particularly if it's in terms of a counter attack, how important it is to have all of the opposition running back towards their own goal at that pace.
It makes the counter that much harder to
defend.
Yeah.
So I think there's an argument for what Diallo's doing at United being better than what Saka was doing at Arsenal. Although Arsenal look top of the league, who's to argue? But I think he's whatever's being coached, whatever way Saka's being coached at the moment, it's definitely hurting him in terms of his personal game for goals and assists.
I think so. I would be interested to see, and we've spoken enough about Arsenal, this is the last thing I'll say about it. I'd be interested to see how Saka looks coming back into the team if Havertz continues in that 10 role. Just because I think with Odegaard in the team, we just do that recycling play an awful lot, sideways and backwards. Whereas Havertz has been looking for that ball through. I don't know. I don't think it's any coincidence that Gyökeres' good form coincides with Havertz returning to the team.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyway, move on from Arsenal.
So, did we cover Chelsea Wolves last weekend?
No.
I don't think we did.
Expected win there.
Cole Palmer hat-trick first half.
I didn't realise that. 2 penalties.
But there was two. Yeah, he actually went in 2 different corners as well. Great penalty taker.
That's not a hat trick.
To be fair to him, it's a hat trick.
It's not
3 goals. We guaranteed he's walking away with that match ball, and he did. But yeah, look, it's no surprise there in that result, and positive for Chelsea in that respect. Obviously we'll get into yesterday evening's game as well, but the next one after that was
Newcastle Brentford.
Yeah, and
3-2 win Brentford.
Yeah, that's Newcastle just can't find any sort of rhythm at the moment
No,
whatsoever.
no. They're not in trouble, but Eddie Howe might well be in trouble.
Is it just me, or did they seem to concede a lot of late goals as well?
Yeah, they do. They do.
Um,
I don't know. They're just going to see out the season, aren't they? Newcastle again, another
they'll
one of
just
those
have to
teams.
regroup and then see if they can work a bit of financial magic and get a few more bodies through the door.
Yeah, it's an unusual one to say. Newcastle need to find a bit of financial magic when they've got all that money that they can't do anything with.
Yeah, it's an interesting one because, like, I remember when the money force came in at Newcastle, and fans would have been kind of nearly had the money spent already.
Yeah, they thought they were going to be the next City,
the next Man City, and not all of them, but a lot of them would have said Eddie Howe's not big enough to carry that amount of money around.
I don't think Eddie Howe is necessarily the problem when it comes to the money side of things. They are still strangled by financial fair play because as a club, they're not bringing in as much revenue as Man City.
Don't. Yeah, they don't have the as you said, they don't generate the revenue just from whether that's global fan base or whatever it might be, commercial revenue, all that sort of stuff. But the point I'm making is that they've gotten to a point now where they're probably afraid that Eddie Howe is going to leave and somebody else is going to come in. A club that has that revenue stream that's going to actually go, look, there's tell us who you want. You can bring in whoever you want, play your style.
Yeah.
You have free reign. No, I don't think that really happens at many clubs now at the moment.
I don't think it does.
Does.
You even look at, I think it probably happens at City a little bit. But I even think if you look at Arsenal, I don't think it happens there. I think there's more a measured approach there.
Yeah, I think it was probably when you had Edu, was it?
Edu, yeah.
Edu was the kind of the sporting director in the background. They seem to have a nice partnership there.
Yeah, he's at Forest now, which
yeah, isn't really working.
It's not really working out there. In terms of Brentford, what's your take there?
Yeah, look, the Brentford are just Brentford, aren't they? I mean, Keith Andrews doing a great job there.
Yeah. They're gonna be about where they are, and they're gonna take points off teams, but then they're gonna drop points.
But they're in that sort of mid-table zone now at the moment, where there's still plenty to play for, and there's 4 or 5 teams that can make a bit of a push now at the back end of the season and push for those last couple of European places. Like so,
Brentford are well in with a shout for. You could nearly make an argument they could still be in with a shout at top 4, outside chance, but they're definitely there for the Europa and the Conference League places.
I feel like there's been a bit of a shift the last couple of weeks. Kind of in around the time Michael Carrick took over at United, when United start sort of going back to playing to United everybody wanted to see and whatever. It seemed to have a ripple effect, say the top 4 or 5 teams, where everybody started to show a little bit more, like Arsenal not relying on set pieces the last couple of games, actually scoring from open play, putting big numbers up on the board, your 4s and your 3s and whatever it was in the last couple of games. You've also had City, who were maybe coming out and having a good first half, but then coasting the second half, not really setting the world alight.
Yeah.
Obviously they had that loss to United as well. And then you had, like, I even see Chelsea now. Chelsea finding a bit of form. Aston Villa now this evening, getting those little wins.
Yeah.
Where you would have, everybody was talking about how Villa are going to fall off and everything else. I find it's just right around that time Michael Carrick came in, it's now had a ripple effect, and the top 4 or 5 teams are getting some consistency to what they're doing.
Yeah.
Where what we spoke about maybe a couple of weeks ago was that everybody was beating everybody, and there was no consistency. Nobody was finding a run of games. Nobody was finding a run of form. And I think maybe the middle, the likes of your Newcastles, your Brentfords, your Crystal Palace, your Brightons, those teams are still hit and miss.
Yeah,
it hasn't rippled down that far, and I think it'll be interesting to see now if any of those teams can even just put a run of 3 or 4 games together where they're not at least not dropping points, just to keep them in contention for those European places.
And
I think
that's who will get there. And I think Brentford are probably one of the better places to do that. I think just from their league position where they are at the moment. But we shall see. Let's hope that doesn't start tomorrow.
Yeah, and we spoke there about Brighton and Crystal Palace again. Case in point, 1-0 Crystal Palace. I mean,
and then they go and lose tonight to Burnley 3-2.
Yeah, and Brighton losing again then to Aston Villa.
Yeah,
but they could go on and they could take the scalp next week. You know, you don't know what you're going to get from them.
That's part of the beauty of Premier League at times as well, isn't it? Though you don't know from one game to the next.
And what I'm saying as well about teams finding form, we look at the last game of that weekend, the City and Liverpool, and both teams showed up.
They did.
It was an entertaining game from a neutral perspective. Yeah. It was an entertaining game.
I've seen people put this down to City just finding a way to win. Liverpool found a way to lose that game, in my opinion.
Yeah, it might be fair. Like, they threw the kitchen sink at it when it went to 2-1, and obviously it was the dying embers of the game as well. What was your take on the disallowed Cherokee goal and the Szoboszlai sending off?
Goal should have stood. Goal should have stood. I know with the letter of the law, it's a red card. It's a yeah, you know, the goal's disallowed, all of that. But I mean, it just seems nonsensical. City want the goal, Liverpool don't want the player sent off.
There should be some sort of veto in these circumstances where the referee goes, look, it's best for everybody involved if we just allow this to run out and say both of them were at it, the result is a goal.
Yeah.
Like, even Haaland's coming out at the end and going, just give us the goal. And, you know, don't give him the red card because now he's going to miss the next game and everything else.
City leave that game. They don't care if Szoboszlai misses the next game or not.
No,
do you know what I mean?
Liverpool were sending Alisson up, and Alisson was staying up because they wanted to try to get a point out of that game. So they knew the risk involved. So they won't be going off that pitch feeling any worse because it finished 3 rather than 2.
No, that was the risk they took. Anyway.
But they'll be feeling it now because I would say Szoboszlai's been their best player all season.
Well, 100%.
And I think a lot of even Liverpool fans would say the same. And now he's facing a ban now because of that, and it's it's nonsense, really.
It's just, I can't tell you how much it annoyed me looking at that game. I was annoyed watching that game.
It's a bit like me with Aston Villa and Brighton there, thinking Brighton were going to take a point.
Yeah.
But it wasn't to be. We'll move on to the midweek fixtures then.
We've kind of touched on some of them as we were talking away there.
Bit of an overlap.
Yeah.
Not with Gary Neville.
No, fuck him.
Chelsea and Leeds played out a 2-2 draw. We spoke about that.
2-2 draw, we kind of touched on that.
Cole Palmer with another penalty. Does that not count either, Dave?
I'll count it as a goal. I'm just not counting hat-tricks.
Yao Pedro on the score sheet there as well. Good finish from him. Little dink over the keeper. But fair play to Leeds.
Yeah, fair play. I think
pull it back.
They're in a good position, I think, Leeds, to stay up.
We kind of touched on it earlier, and I just think that there's going to be, because Ellen Road in particular has been so good for them, I think they'll continue just to pick up points here and there, and the gap is already enough for them, I think, just to maintain that, to stay up, you know.
Yeah. Next up, we had Everton Bournemouth yesterday. Everton lost. Again, it goes, just like you say, it goes back to that teams in those positions, isn't it?
Yeah.
There's no consistency.
No, it could go either way. Like, if you're a betting man, if you're doing the super six, your accumulators, whatever it might be,
it's not the season.
Very difficult. What I would say is, right, Semenyo left, obviously, for City during the January transfer window. If I can get this flip flop out of my mouth, this flu isn't helping either.
No.
But they brought in Rayan, 19-year-old Brazilian lad.
Yeah.
And I think that's 2 goals in 2 games now he's after scoring. And he looks like he's only 19, but like he looks, mid-20s, and he looks physically capable of competing. Even his goal yesterday was a header at the back post. Like, he physically very impressive. Like, I think.
How much of that do you think is a club like Bournemouth, letting Semenyo go, knowing that they have him in the background, who has looked good in training, maybe, They know they have him there, and it's like, right, okay, we'll take the risk, we'll take the money for Semenyo,
Yeah.
and we'll blood this new lad.
Yeah.
And
I suppose it's for a lot of clubs like that. It's their bread and butter to have a really good scouting and recruiting system.
now ideally they probably would have liked to have held on to Semenyo till the end of the season, but
Yeah, you'd wonder why some of the bigger clubs don't do it. I mean, you get these people coming through the academy, these young lads coming through the academy and stuff. Sometimes they're often brought in at a very young age. Like Garnacho was considered a prodigal son of the academy coming through, but he was like that, scouted from Argentina. Of course, he wasn't living in Manchester. He wasn't living in the UK and came through from 8 or 9 years old. This kind of way. So, you'd wonder why the bigger clubs, with all the revenue and everything that they have, why they don't kind of develop their youth or improve their scouting system, because time and time again, your Bournemouths, your Brightons, your Crystal Palace, they'll always have sort of that top of the top player who's ready to play in maybe the top 5 or 6 teams in the Premier League. But then, just as you say there, when they go, they usually get replaced by somebody of equal quality who will likely bring them profit again.
I mean, worst case scenario, you sell a player for 20, 30 million for bringing them through. Best case scenario, you end up with, say for Arsenal, because I only speak about Arsenal because it's my club and I know them better, you get a Max Dellman, you get a Bukayo Saka.
Yeah.
You get an Ethan Minerdi who's gone out on loan, but chances are he's going to stick around the club as a top talent. Or if not, they'll sell him for 30, 40 million. You don't know.
It's an interesting one.
Yeah.
It's an interesting one, but he's definitely off to a flying start with Bournemouth. And just on a side note there, Jake O'Brien sent off as well.
Yeah, I saw that. Next game, Spurs, Newcastle. Newcastle winning 2-1, and ultimately
the final nail on Frank's coffin.
Yeah.
It was, to be fair, I only kind of seen the highlights of this one, but it seemed both teams had chances, probably could have gone either way. But like that, when you're in Thomas Frank's position as he was, Tottenham being in the position that they were in,
you just spiral, don't you?
You just spiral, and you just don't get the rub of the green.
No.
At times, it's very difficult to get yourself out of that. We spoke about this game already, but West Ham United.
Against who?
West Ham and United. There's only one United there, and that's Finglas United.
Very good.
Yeah, look, Dine Embers, big man Sesko.
Yeah.
Comes on, and great finish. Fairness to him.
He's 90+6. I'm just saying that now.
It was a great finish.
I did see the goal. I didn't realise it was that late.
It was Brian Bilmo crossed the ball in, and it was just the technique. It was just the deftest touch. It was at a bit of a weird angle, and he just bit of class. But similar to the Gyökeres, he seems to be benefiting from not shouldering the burden of scoring the goals.
Yeah.
To be able to come off the bench, play with a bit more freedom, and that's twice now he's been able to come on.
I think ideally for players like that, that's the way they probably should be introduced to a new league.
Yeah.
I think for both of those players, they weren't afforded the luxury of it.
Yeah.
Arsenal, Gyökeres was the only available striker.
A lot of pressure, and these are young lads.
Yeah.
Like, you looked, Rasmus Højlund wasn't able to do it, because it takes time to adapt to the Premier League. Like, Rasmus Højlund's first season took him an eternity to get his first Premier League goal, but then we were playing in the Champions League that season.
Yeah.
And he was banging them in.
Yeah.
Because European football suited him, and that's what he was used to.
It's a little bit different, isn't it?
But he hadn't adapted. So you're trying to adapt to a league, but also take on the responsibility and the burden of one of the biggest clubs in the world to be the main man.
Yep.
At 20 odd years of age. Very difficult.
It's a big task.
Yeah. But no, Sesko seems to be coming good, which is great. And again, West Ham keeping up that run of form.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good draw, I think, for West Ham.
Yeah, I think they'll have enough definitely to get out. It's just who replaces them in that bottom three.
Yeah, at this moment in time, it looks like Forest, but I'd hope it's Spurs. Wednesday. Do you want to move on to Wednesday?
Wednesday from the Adams family.
Yeah.
How's she getting on? She well?
She's alright.
Is that my walking? That's an hour one, isn't it?
It is.
Haven't said
It
that in
is.
years.
How's your manager that working?
Does your sister need a hammer at homework?
Jesus.
I know, it's been a minute. Right, where do we am after losing track? Villa and Brighton.
Villa
Yeah.
1-0 winners there. Yeah. Again, like we say about those mid-table teams, consistency is not. I'm
Do you
talking about Brighton here. Sorry.
Do you think Villa will drop off though? Do you still maintain?
They'll drop off. Well, I think that they will drop off the race for the league title. I don't think they'll have enough to get there. I don't know whether, in terms of dropping off, that they'll drop out of the top 4. I think they'll stay there.
Just on, we spoke there about Eddie Howe.
Yeah.
Himself and Unai Emery are probably 2 of the best managers in the Premier League at the moment.
Coaches, like from a coaching perspective.
From a coaching perspective, like what they've done, both in similar circumstances in terms of being at big clubs with little budgets.
Yeah.
And still being able to compete most years, to be there or thereabouts.
Yeah.
They're probably 2 of the longest serving coaches as well in their positions.
Emery's there about 3 years now, is he? At Villa?
Yeah, which is like in itself is a long time. Probably
in the modern
game. I mean, you don't get an awful lot of time. If we went through all the clubs, I mean, Rosenior's in there a week or 2. Obviously, Pep and Arteta are up there. Obviously,
they're a bit of an exception, I think.
Michael Carrick's only in the door. Rosenior's only in the door. Arne Slot's only in his 2nd season.
Yeah, and
Keith Andrews only started this season.
Slot's gonna go as well, I think.
So you can go through the whole list. Like Marco Silva's probably up there as well.
Yeah. When you look at it, you're right. We probably won't go through them all, but you're right. They're not very long-serving managers at most of the clubs now.
Yeah. So, but I suppose the point that I'm trying to make is, if you're either of those, how long do you stick around? Like if somebody comes knocking, like let's say Michael Carrick doesn't take the United job, and De Zerbi was on the list, and De Zerbi goes to Tottenham, so he's not available. And they don't want to wait for the likes of a Thomas Tuchel because he's going to be with England until the end of the summer.
Yeah, like if Eddie Howe gets the knock and Man United are looking for a manager, he'd go, won't he?
Like Unai Emery on the other hand as well.
Yeah, Unai Emery would depend on Villa's position if they weren't going to offer him the budget, shall we say.
But we know that budget's never going to come. Where's it going to come from?
Yeah.
The revenue is not going to suddenly appear.
Yeah. So I don't know. Yeah, I think Emery would be a good fit at United actually.
Yeah,
but I think Carrick's going to get that job.
Yeah, I think a lot of debate. Actually, I don't think we discussed this, did we?
No.
I think obviously there's a lot of debate before a ball was even kicked under Carrick. People were saying, "It doesn't matter what happens. Doesn't matter what happens. We can't give him the job."
Yeah.
And they kind of going, "All right." And now,
he's finished 2nd.
With the exception of that game against West Ham. I mean, particularly the City game. The City game was unbelievable because I think we've gone through the hopeless, optimistic phase with Amorim where we're kind of going, no, it's going to come good.
Yeah.
Look, just wait. One day it's going to click. One day it's going to click. And like I said it so many times, he went into these press conferences and he charmed the pants off you and you were going, you know what, I like him. It's the players' fault. It's something to do with the players. It can't be him because, he speaks so well and he knows what he's talking about and it can't be him. And then Michael Carrick comes in, who, he's quite pleasant and all, but he's probably not as charismatic in front of the camera.
He's not the media darling.
No, he's not. Which I kind of like because
they shouldn't be.
It doesn't open him up to, because sometimes with Amorim you didn't know what he was going to say. You were afraid he was going to just say, yeah, this is the shittest Man United team that's ever been, this kind of thing.
Yeah.
But the tune he's getting out of players has been exceptional. He's done a lot of the basics right, but I think his in-game management is pretty good. He makes substitutions at the right time. He makes the right substitutions as well.
Yeah.
I think if we make top 4 at the end of the season, it has to be one of the candidates. Whether or not he actually puts his hat in the ring and he kind of wants to go out.
That's the other thing, isn't it?
Like he's now been manager for 8 games for United. across his 2 tenures.
And he's in the top 4 now.
And he's unbeaten.
Yeah. He is unbeaten, isn't he? Yeah.
He's only had 2 draws.
Yeah.
So, not bad going.
That's not bad
The rest
going
of
at
them
all.
have been wins. You know, 6 wins, 2 draws in 8 games.
The next game on our list, Gav, is last night's game, tonight's game, excuse me, City and Fulham. City 3-0 winners. Fulham didn't really but from the looks of it, didn't put up much of a fight.
No, I think... Yeah,
it is
Fulham,
what it is.
Fulham seem to be a bit checked out already, don't they?
They do. That's one of those. And I've seen players talk about this, that although you're supposed to be professional and go till the end or whatever, when your season's over and you're not going up, you're not going down, you're not winning anything.
Yeah, you're fouling around there for the rest of the season.
Exactly. And, they shouldn't do it, but I mean, you can see how it happens. Next game then was Forest Wolves, 0-0.
Yeah.
Well, moving on.
Yeah, I don't know. For Forest, they'll have to be looking at that going, that's a missed opportunity there.
Yeah, it definitely is.
You know, to put a bit of daylight between them and,
which would have been West Ham. They would have got, although West Ham played, it would have been daylight.
Put a bit of daylight, just keep West Ham at bay nearly, you know.
Yeah.
Not
too much to say on that game though.
The game itself, forget about it. Rubbish.
Next one then, Burnley Palace. Burnley beat them 3-2 away from home.
Yeah, there's always an outside chance, but given how well West Ham are doing in the fight to get out of that relegation zone, and then you look at the teams in the middle there, you've got Forest and you've got Spurs, and then probably to a lesser extent Leeds. But as I said, Leeds are going to continue to pick up points here and there. I genuinely think they're safe.
Yeah.
You reckon, as much as you'd hope, Spurs would go down? You don't think they will?
I don't think they will.
So, for Burnley to get out, it's going to take an absolute miracle. But I don't think there's any expectation amongst Burnley fans or anybody at the club that they're getting out.
I wouldn't have thought so.
They're probably already preparing themselves for a run out in the Championship next year anyway.
Yeah. This one I hadn't even seen until we're looking at it now because it only ended a short while ago. Liverpool winning 1-0 away at Sunderland.
Yeah, I mean, look, Stadium Light's a difficult place to go, and
so it's a good result.
Yeah, Sunderland, I mean, they started the season very well, and they've just been kind of tipping along.
Yeah,
they weren't expected to stay. I mean, I know they were in the top 4 and all at one stage, was probably second or.
I think if you offered them their league position where they are now, they're sitting they're sitting in 11th. They probably would take that if you told them they were going to consolidate, finish mid-table.
Yeah, look, for any team getting promoted, especially to the top division, your goal is always to stay there.
Yeah, exactly.
And to stay there consistently and build the foundations to be the top division side.
To be honest, I
think a Premier League club.
They've done that, I think, this season. They've done it very well as well.
So it's if you're involved there, you're thinking, okay, we started really well, but you're looking at where you can improving the squad as a whole, and you know how competitive the Premier League is and how difficult it is to compete in the Premier League. So you can't just sit in your laurels.
No.
Rest in your laurels. You have to just keep reinforcing. Yeah. And we go back to Nuno at West Ham now. When he was at Forest, he had done that stage 1.
Yeah.
Forest were competing. They were going for Champions League places. They were completely outperforming what they should have done. But the owners then were looking at that going,
well, that's the problem at that club, isn't it?
Yeah. The owners looking at it going,
well, that's what we want now. That's
and when it doesn't continuously happen, and when there's a bit of a drop off, kind of going, well, but the manager's the problem.
Yeah,
we need a new manager now.
Certainly wasn't the problem there. They overachieved, and that was the problem.
Yeah, and then they didn't back it up. Now there was an initial, I suppose from an owner's point of view. Remember, I think initially they bought 20-something players.
Yeah,
they were just buying everybody at one stage.
Yeah,
and then it was kind of going, right, well, that's it now. I want us competing for the Champions League every year.
It's not going to happen, though, is it?
You have to.
Some of the top 6 clubs.
You have to keep moving. You have to keep moving.
The top 6 clubs aren't guaranteed that place in the Champions League every year. So for any of those teams, how they expect it to do that.
Yeah, it's a
You know.
it's a difficult one.
Just really quickly on Liverpool, that's a very much needed 3 points for them, isn't it?
It is. They needed that bounce back after that kind of late loss to City, and more so just to kind of stay in the picture for Champions League places. And
Yeah, because
Yeah.
it's at
'Cause
that
as I
stage
said
of the
before-
season now where 1 or 2 bad results could have you right out of that top 4 chase. I mean, they don't actually look
But
too
this-
bad at the moment. I mean, they're on 42, and is it top 5 again?
yeah, it'll be based again on the coefficient. I think so. How
Yeah.
well all the
But they-
English clubs are doing across Europe,
Yeah, and
European
they're all-
competitions.
To be fair, they're all doing very well. So
But it kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier. It feels like over the last couple of game weeks, the top 5 have all moved into another gear.
Yeah.
And you're kind of seeing some of that when City rocked up against, or when Liverpool rocked up against City rather.
Mm.
There was something different to their game.
yeah,
There was a bit of fight about them. And
you sometimes get that in a big game as well, though.
you do. I would, if I'm a Liverpool fan, I'm worried because of that very fact, because Chelsea, United, City and Arsenal are all gaining a bit of form. Okay, you're not really looking at City and Arsenal, they're too far gone. But if you're looking at Villa, United and Chelsea, they're all hitting a bit of form now.
Yeah, they're all consistent.
Probably to a lesser extent Villa, they're not necessarily hitting form, but they're still
They're
grinding
still
out
picking up
results.
Still picking up results.
Still
yeah.
grinding out results. If any of them, I think Villa might drop a place or two. Unai Emery's a great manager, and they do have some top quality players there at Villa. They really do, but I don't know if they can be really consistent with it. I mean, I go back to, I think it was the end of last season, was it, when I was at the United Villa game, last game of the season? It was, because Amram had that big speech at the end of the game.
Yeah.
And Aston Villa were right in it to get a Champions League spot, and they didn't show up to Old Trafford that day at all.
No. It's huge.
They were absolutely brutal.
They would have been hugely disappointed. The fans would have been hugely disappointed that day.
So that's what's in my mind, is that they don't have the experience within the team of seeing that and finishing the season as strong as they maybe should.
And I suppose we'll see.
I think that Aston Villa's probably the better opportunity for Liverpool to catch rather than United and Chelsea.
Yeah,
I see them overtaking Villa at some point.
I think you're probably right. The final game then of these midweek fixtures, I don't want to speak about it too long because we've gone back and forward on Arsenal a couple of times. It is Brentford at home to Arsenal. The only thing I'll say on it is this is a real test of our title credentials, this game tomorrow.
Yeah.
I think with City winning tonight, Arsenal have to, if they have any ambitions of winning the league this season, have to be able to go into this game tomorrow and win it.
Is there any games up until this point for you as an Arsenal fan where you think if you lose it by a point or two at the end of the season, that was the game that cost you?
I go back to the couple of weeks. Yes, there was Forest. We drew against Forest a few weeks ago. And there was another one in and around that time. Oh, with the Liverpool game, where Liverpool were awful in the game, but we were equally as awful. I would point to those two games because City dropped points those 2 weeks and we didn't capitalise.
Do you think the City game early doors as well, maybe?
No.
Do you not think so?
I wouldn't read too much into
Do you not
that.
think Arteta went into that too passively and
No, he didn't. If you look at a City lined up the way everybody's been lining up against us all season, and they played that low block, stifled the game. We eventually got a goal in it, but they got that 1-0 and they were happy enough to try and see that out. Arsenal spent that whole game trying to break down a low block.
Yeah.
So I don't look at that as Arsenal were a bit passive.
Yeah.
People like to throw that at Arsenal a little bit. I think
It's more that I think it's a lot of it at Arteta. When you don't, sometimes the lineups look as though he's not going for the game.
Yeah.
Particularly when you see some of the players that he might have on the bench, like I kind of go to the likes of Madueke and stuff, where he'll give you that something different, but you're relying on Saka to retain possession, to walk the ball around, to wait for that space to open rather than just somebody who's going to take a defender on and get to that byline and maybe cut it back.
Yeah, I mean, he's relying on, he's going back to what has worked to a certain extent, but I think no, I think you're right. Like and I think he has probably looked at that as time's gone on in the season and messed with the lineup a little bit. But there has been times where we've been a bit limited to what we could pick. It was funny. Like at the early start of the season, like we had Saka in, Madueke injured. Then that flips nearly on the same week.
Yeah.
Yeah, had Madueke come back and Saka's injured or whatever way it was. You know what I mean? It was kind of things like that. We had for a big part of the season, Gyökeres being the only player available up top. You had Jesus and Havertz with long-term injuries, which I don't know. It's hard to say. Like I said, I don't want to talk too much about Arsenal. I feel like I spoke about them a lot on this episode. So
yeah,
I'll just say,
really was sick of talking about Arsenal.
Like I said, real test tomorrow. And if Arsenal want to be champions, these are the games they have to win.
They have to win all the games if they want to be champions, Dave.
This is true, but like these big tests, you know what I mean? Where you go away to a Brentford on a Thursday evening,
on a rainy Thursday evening.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
We'll see how it goes. Just in terms of looking forward then for any games, what's in the pipeline for us, Dave?
Looking forward to getting out to a few more games, I think, Gav, and getting some coverage out there. We won't be out at anything this weekend, but
there's actually not much going on in terms of...
No, it's a bit quiet actually out there. A few cup games and stuff going on.
We may try. I know the LFA Select squad. We covered their game against the senior league team a couple of weeks back, and that went down very well on socials. Again, we've got a feature-length video on that on our YouTube channel, so go check that out if you haven't already.
We've also got the Finglas United game up there against Bray.
That's up there as well.
That's up there as well. Another feature-length episode, video, whatever you want to call it, on the YouTube channel.
But the LFA team are playing a friendly against Wayside Celtic on Monday the 18th, I believe. So we may...
16th?
Sorry, 16th, is it?
Yeah, Monday 16th.
Sorry, Monday 16th. Sorry, this flu has me messed up, and you can probably tell by the sound of my voice. It's weighing heavy on me at the moment. But yeah, if we can, we'll get out to that game as well. Now, we did a couple of weeks ago try get out to Rivermount, and the Valley were playing in the Finglas Derby. Now, plans got changed last minute, and we ended up changing our plans and heading down to Gav Pearce in Home Farm.
Yeah, circumstances stopped us going out to that. We'd like to get out to the Valley again if we could.
Yeah, it was a good win for them actually. That finished 3-1 that game. So yeah, we'll try cover some of those some the Valley's games again soon.
Keep an eye on the YouTube channel because we will be trying to get out to a lot of these games.
Yeah, same with Rivermount as well.
Yeah.
Any of the local games. Look, if it's something, if you're involved with the club and you'd like us to come out and cover them, by all means, give us a shout, and we'll do our best to get out and give it some coverage.
Just to highlight your club.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, get some coverage and show off your team.
And if you haven't heard that episode with Gavin Pearce, he is the director of football, or the head of football.
Director.
Is it director?
It is director.
Okay, director of football.
As you pointed out, I had a typo on it for nearly a week on the YouTube channel.
You did.
Yeah.
You did. Poor dyslexic Dave. But yeah, if you haven't already heard or listened to that episode, definitely worth a listen.
Yeah, I recommend it. It's a good listen.
Yeah, from a couple of different perspectives. You've got his playing career, which is very impressive. He's had time in England. He's played at the highest level in the League of Ireland. He's done some coaching as well, and then obviously now his position within Home Farm, and there's a lot of transitions within the club in terms of their link up with DCU and offering scholarships, but then also from a senior football perspective, they're making that move into the new third tier of Irish football as well. So really interesting interview we had with Gav, so definitely worth a listen if you haven't listened to that one already.
Just in terms of that third tier as well, that's another thing to look out for here on this podcast, because once that kicks off...
Yeah, that'll be kicking off around September, so...
We'll be trying to get a lot of coverage on that, and hopefully getting out to some of the games for that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So from myself and Dave, that's it for this week, and we will talk to you again next week, and enjoy your weekend.
Yep, thanks, and follow the socials.
Oh, Dave, you didn't even get to do the socials right. Give it the full spiel, Dave. Go on, they're all listening. They're all listening.
Cut me off. Facebook, X, Twitter, TikTok, all them, anygames.ie or anygames.ie, you'll find us on there. Follow us on there, drop a bit of comments, let us know what you're thinking of the podcast.
It does. It means a lot if you can get on there and give us a thumbs up, subscribe, follow, hit the notification bell, all those things. They do really well for us in the algorithm, and it gives us good indication that we're heading in the right direction and that we've got eyes and ears on what we're doing, and those eyes and ears are enjoying what we're doing. So it's good feedback for us.
Much appreciated. And any comments, we try our best to engage back on them as well. So yeah, you can say goodbye now, Gav, if you want.
Come on.
Goodbye.